What's up YouTube, Demi here with a build guide for a budget magic find character that you can use to just basically print out currency in any league, but especially standard league, because in standard divine orbs are usually about 20 to 25 chaos. In league, I think currently in bestiary league they're like 8 to 10 C. And you can do that by farming this zone, blood aqueducts. Why do you farm blood aqueducts? Because it doesn't really require you to have a good character, it doesn't require you to have any insane amount of damage or clear speed, but you can get some pretty basic quant gear and some magic find gear, and just run this zone until you get humility cards. Humility cards are the div cards that give a tabula, and it's a 9-card set. Each tabula will sell to the vendor, for a divine orb, because it is a 6-link. Any 6-link you vendor gives you a divine orb. So you can do this, and just slowly farm your way through this, or quickly if you can go fast. I'm using not leveled gems because I just threw this character together, so I'm just like getting a lot of gem levels up. But as you can see, we clear fairly quickly. We have really good AoE due to using REAVE and REAVE. REAVE normally has 4 max stacks that give you 50% more AoE per stack. REAVE allows you to get up to 8 of those. So if you can just maintain those stacks for the rest of the map, you can clear very, very quickly. You don't have to worry about it. It took me about 5 instances to get my first card, which might be lucky, might be unlucky, I don't know. I'm going to run this for a couple hours to figure out exactly how many, but I would guesstimate if you're lucky, you're probably going to get like 1.5 to 2 sets an hour for tabula cards, which translates into 30 to 45 chaos an hour just by selling those. Or sorry, yeah, about 40 C an hour, whatever. 2 divines an hour if we go generously. If we go not generously, we do 1 divine an hour, that's 20 C an hour, not including anything else that you pick up, right? So the gear is actually incredibly cheap. I got 2 Orbment of the East here. These cost an alch. I'm using a gold rem here, which just gives you all res. It costs an alch or a chaos. A cheap 5-link. I spent a 2C on this, I think, 2C. This amulet, you basically just need strength on your amulet, like a decent amount of strength. This has, what is that, like 40 strength or so, and then some life on it. If you can get some damage on here, some flat cold, flat lightning, that's great. Ring, I'm using a Thief's Torment. This allows you to only have 1 ring, which is annoying, but it has a lot of all res on it. It's got a little bit of quantity on it, which is what we want. And it's got life and mana gain on hit, so you get a lot of, like, I have like 80 life gained on hit or something stupid from this. So it's kind of like I have old wall packed instant leech. I'm using a pair of gold worms, which are, I think, minimum rolled. Yeah, these were an alch. This belt was an alch. It always has 5 quant on it. It also gives you rampage. Rampage is what gives you all those kill streak modifiers. It's kind of fun to maintain them. And it gives you a little bit of damage and move speed while you have it up as well. And then I'm using a pair of middle tier rolled gold worm, or sorry, Sedemus touches, which also have quant on them. So in total I have 47% quant with bad gear. And as you do this, if you farm for a couple hours, you can get, like, say you turn in, I don't know, 5 of the div card sets, 5 of these sets for, like, I don't know, a day of farming or whatever. That's 100 chaos. Then you can spend that 100 chaos to buy some Venter's Gambles, which would hopefully have more quant on them. If you can get 2 decent Venter's Gambles with quant on them, like high quant and don't worry about the rest basically, then you just get to replace this with 2 maybe 8 to 10% quant Venters, which will give you a little bit more, but honestly this is fine. Like, this is great. If you can get a lot of currency together, you can get a Biscos to replace your amulet, but, like, as I said, you don't need much to start out with this. I'm not even res capped, it doesn't matter. You're doing blood aqueducts. It's a level 61 zone, you just farm it really, really fast. Do this for hours and hours on end, right? So the skill tree is pretty simple. I'm a raider. You could do this with literally any, like, you could go shadow, ranger, duelist, or marauder if you really, really want it. It doesn't matter. You're just making a really crappy auto attack Ellie build at the moment. So my version is life, dual wield stuff, attack speed, a bunch of life down here, all the dual wield nodes, more life, and frenzy charges because we are raider. And then I pick up all of the dual wield attack speed stuff down here. And I start heading over here to get some Ellie damage, some life, some frenzies, some crit, some dodge chance from acro, phase acro. This is basically our only real defense here. Then you pick up the claw wheel and a bunch of life, frenzies, more claw stuff, more weapon elemental damage, pen, life, crit multi stuff, more life, more attack speed, more crit, whatever, right? Ascendancy points, you go raider because it gives you a ton of attack speed, movement speed, frenzy charges, all of that good stuff. Frenzy charges are basically free damage. So I take these first. This is normal lab, this is cruel lab, this is merc lab, this is uber lab. You don't need uber lab here if you can't get it because you're in the start of a league or whatever. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, you just farm. And I will show you my, let me get my unbuffed tooltip so you can witness how bad this is. I think it's like 10k or something. But you don't need much. It's blood aqueducts, right? So no buffs, just my golem. I have 16k REAVE on a 5 link. We'll go over the links in a second. And as always, the path of building placement for this will be in the description below the video, which is, you know, pretty simple. But yeah, because I'm not res capped, I'm using 2 flasks that give resist. So that kind of keeps me res capped while mapping quickly. Right? Yeah. So there, I'm mostly res capped. And my literal max tooltip with everything down is 42k damage. Pretty good if I do say so myself. But yeah, you just kind of farm. Because you have a little bit of quant and you're going fast, you'll have a good chance of getting div cards. I basically wouldn't pick up anything other than just currency, humility cards, 6 sockets, essences, unless you're really desperate and you want to ID some rares. You could also do chaos recipe out of this if you really, really wanted to. You could do that. At the very beginning of a league, it's going to be hard to get this level of quant gear, so I would justify this more randomly after the league if you want to just generate some currency while watching a stream or something like that. It is kind of fun to play. I mean, REAVE is always fun. It's very quick, pretty simple. And you just get to run through things, make that delicious crunching noise, and maybe get some good drops along the way. As you can see, I'm almost always at like near maximum life because of the life gained on hit, mana gained on hit stuff from my claws and my ring. It's really dumb. I didn't really think about how much life gained on hit I was going to get, but if I'm hitting the whole screen and I'm getting 80 life per hit or whatever it is, because it say on here? 92 life gained on hit. Like, if I'm hitting 10 enemies, that's like 1,000 life on hit. It's kind of dumb. But yeah, you just reset. To reset, you hold control and click. It'll bring up this. You can go to your old instances or you can make a new instance. And you just do that over and over and over and over and over again. Don't worry about clearing the whole zone. Just do that fast and easy, right? So gem links, main 5 link. You got REAVE, you got multi-strike. You have increased AoE for the juicy clear speed. And you're going to go added cold, added lightning, just for a bunch of flat damage, because these claws have basically no damage on them. The main reason we use these claws is because they say hits cannot be evaded, so we don't have to worry about accuracy at all. We have a 100% chance to hit, which is really good. Other links, I'm using a Whirling Blades Fortify faster attack setup here, just so we can move quickly. If you can fit a Blood Magic in, that'd be great, but I didn't have another red socket, so I just put that here. Doesn't really matter. Other links, I'm using a Wrath and a Blood Rage for one of our auras and one of our buffs. Blood Rage gives you frenzy charges and attack speed. Wrath gives you a bunch of flat lightning damage to your attacks, sure. And then I'm using REAVE, increased AoE, faster attacks. You don't need these 2 links, you can just use REAVE, but REAVE is what allows us to get those more stacks, so we get more AoE. Other links, I have a cast when damage taken, Immortal Call. This gives you a short burst of immunity to physical damage when you get spiked. And then you get a lightning golem for the attack and cast speed. And then I'm using another aura here, or sorry, this isn't an aura, another buff, Herald of Ice. This is what allows us to get that shatter explosion when we kill things with cold, and it also can hit things with that explosion, so I have it linked to Curse on Hit Assassin's Mark. This gives us some more life and mana on kill, but it also gives us power charge generation, increased crits, chance to take crits, whatever on the enemies. That's good. And then I have it linked to Onslaught. If that explosion manages to kill something, then I get an Onslaught for 8 seconds, which is really good for clear speed, right? And then I have a random portal gem if you don't want to use portals, but you really shouldn't use portals because you're just going to run through the zone and then port out, make a new instance, walk back the other way, right? Don't worry about full clearing the zone. You can make as many instances as you want here. You just go fast. There's unique. But yeah, quantity is really, really good for getting currency drops and for getting div card drops. You'll probably also get a fair amount of level 1 maps, tier 1 maps, whatever. If you want to turn those into chisels with the 20 quality hammer recipe, you pick up any hammer, make it 20 quality, and then vendor that hammer with a map, any map, you will get a chisel back out of that. So if you want to like collect those along the way, you can. I don't ever personally do that unless I'm in solo self-found, but you can do that. So, and as you're doing this, right, you're farming for a tabula card. If you get your first tabula, you can decide to either sell it or you can just use it in your own personal links. Just like have a 6 link yourself. But self-farm 6 link, right? Shouldn't take you more than an hour or 2 to get. The entire budget of this character is less than 10 chaos. Pretty quick, pretty simple, pretty easy. I'm using, oh, there's a chaos orb. Alright, we already paid off a 10th of the build, doing good. The tabula card alone I think is like 2 or 3C on standard. So you just kind of keep going. As for Flask, I'm using a increased recovery flask and immunity to bleed flask. You need bleed immunity. If you have Uber Lab done, you get immunity to status ailments, elemental status ailments here, so you basically only need bleed and curse, but I don't have curse, so it doesn't really matter. Other flasks, diamond flask, this allows you to roll your crit chance twice, so if you fail to crit or whatever, it just takes the higher between the two rolls. So if say I roll a crit and I don't crit, it'll take the crit. It's helpful. I have a topaz flask and an onslaught flask with elemental resistances somewhere. The reason for that is because I have no lightning res, so if you have no cold res, get a cold flask. If you have no fire res, get a fire flask. It doesn't really matter. This gives all res, this gives fire res, and then nothing else gives resist except for this is global res as well. So whatever resistances you have on your amulet and your chest are basically going to determine what resistances you should use on your flasks. But I hope you guys enjoyed this really basic farmer. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch if you want to see or ask questions about sort of stuff like this live. And yeah, enjoy your farm. Get those tabular cards going. Farm the divines, because in standard divines are really expensive. But I'll see you guys in the next video, and that'll be Demi out.